An equation says that two things are equal. It can have variables that represent unknown values to make the equation true. For example, if I said that x plus 5 is equal to 8, then only one value of x can make that equation true, 3. We can think about an equation kind of like a scale really, where x plus 5 is on one side and 8 is on the other. Now, you notice that the scale is balanced, and if I wanted to get x by itself, that means I would have to take 5 from the side that x is on, from the left. No, it's not level anymore. To balance it, I have to do the same thing to the right side. That means I would have to take away 5. That's where the word for algebra comes from. It's originally an Arabic word, Algebra, which means to balance, right? And we can solve equations in tons of ways using this idea. Let's look at 3 examples. Now let's say that we wanted to solve for x where x minus 5 is equal to 12. Start with that one, okay? Now let's reason out what it's really saying. This equation is telling us that a number minus 5 must be equal to 12. So that number must be equal to 12 plus 5. In other words, we do the opposite here. And 12 plus 5 is equal to 17. We can test if that's correct, because if we put it back into our equation, 17 minus 5 would definitely give us 12. So we know that x minus 17 is correct. So that's one way that we can think about solving equations. We can reason them out. In the second one, here we have 6x plus 11 is equal to 83. So that means I need to solve for x. Now, before I can get x by itself, I'll have to get all of 6x by itself, which means that I'll need to get rid of this 11 right here. Now, since I'm adding 11 to 6x, then to get rid of it, I could subtract it. In other words, I could take up these 11 blocks. And if I did that, I would also have to subtract 11 from the other side. Now, 11 minus 11 is 0, so that would just leave me with 6x. And that would leave me with 83 minus 11 on this side. And if I do a little arithmetic here, 3 minus 1 is 2, 8 minus 1 is 7. So that means 6x is equal to 72. Now I need to find the value of x. So I'm thinking 6 times a number is 72. What could my number be? Well, I could figure that out by dividing both sides by 6, right? Because if I divide this side by 6, then 6 into 6 goes 1, so that would be 1x. But I'd also have to divide the other side by 6 for it to be balanced. And 72 divided by 6 is equal to 12. So therefore, my value of x is 12 to make this equation true. And again, we could test it, because if I put it here into a test, 6 times 12 plus 11, 6 times 12 is 72. And 72 plus 11 is equal to 83. So I know that x equal 12 is correct. Now in our third equation here, right, we are solving for x. But this one is a little different, because for one, we have a bracket on this side and we have x's on both sides. Now remember earlier that when we said we can expand expressions to make them simpler, this is one situation that we could do that. Because if we expand this expression by multiplying what's on the outside by everything on the inside, then 5 times 2x would give me 10x, 5 times negative 1 would give me negative 5, and this 10x minus 5 would be equal to 3x minus 19. Now if I'm going to solve for x, if you look at the previous ones we did, x was by itself on one side. So that means I need to get x by itself before I can solve for it. So if I have 3x over here, to get rid of it, I would subtract 3x. Okay. I would subtract, let me use a different color. I would subtract 3x on this side, and I'd also subtract 3x on this side to keep it balanced. So that means 10x minus 3x minus 5 would be equal to minus 19. X is still not by itself because we are subtracting 5 from the x terms. So to get rid of that, we would add 5 to both sides. Now, minus 5 plus 5 is 0, and 10x minus 3x is 7x. So that's what I have left on this side. And minus 19 plus 5 is equal to negative 14, because, I owe 19 and now I get 5, so now I just owe 14. So if 7 times x is equal to negative 14, that means x must be equal to negative 14 divided by 7. And negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. So x is equal to negative 2. Again, finally, if we test it, I can move a little bit over to the right. So let me test it over here. If we test it, then we're checking if 5 times 2 times negative 2 minus 1 is the same as 3 times negative 2 minus 19. Let me do some work here. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. And 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So 5 times negative 5, that would be negative 25. And negative 6 minus 19 is also negative 25. So now I'm sure that x equal negative 2 is my answer. So there's really no one way to do it. You just need to understand the concept that you have to keep both sides balanced, and then you can do it whichever way you want. It's good practice to get the hang of it. So I have an activity for you to do next, and then a quiz. If you still need more practice after that, then there's an extra practice quiz that you'll be able to take that you can look in the section below.